Welcome to our podcast on expanding your English vocabulary together.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in as we explore 5 powerful words today.
Today we'll cover the words idealist, idealistic, idol, idolize, and inspiration to help new viewers be aware of these vocabs in our podcast. Idealist is a noun.
It describes someone who envisions or pursues high or noble goals, often without regard to practicality.
She's an idealist who dreams of a world without poverty.
He was an idealist in college, protesting for climate action.
Many founders start as idealists before facing reality.
She remains an idealist despite repeated setbacks.
Critics call him an idealist with his grand proposals.
She embraced her idealist vision to reform education.
Being an idealist can clash with financial constraints.
He wrote a book on the journey from idealist to pragmatist.
The idealist founder refused to compromise on ethics.
She taught that every idealist needs a dose of realism.
He admired her idealist spirit in fighting social injustice.
The idealist volunteer set up free clinics in remote areas.
She called him an idealist for demanding universal health care.
He defended his idealist stance on renewable energy.
She said the idealist in us must balance hope with action.
The idealist writer penned utopian fiction.
He identified as an idealist in his youth and later evolved.
She titled her memoir, From Idealist to Innovator.
The idealist engineer designed eco-friendly prototypes.
He celebrated her idealist persistence in fair trade.
She warned that an idealist without a plan can falter.
He defended his idealist dream of open borders.
The documentary followed a group of youthful idealists.
She reminded idealists to build bridges, not walls.
He called on idealists to volunteer locally.
She wrote a manifesto for fellow idealists.
The idealist discussion group met weekly to envision solutions.
He argued that idealists spur progress by challenging norms.
She defended the idealist impulse against cynics.
He studied historical idealists who changed society.
She taught that every idealist needs supportive community.
He called his nonprofit the Idealist Collective.
She captured the idealist spirit in her photography.
He praised idealists for today's social innovations.
She wrote letters of encouragement to idealists worldwide.
He warned against idealist burnout without self-care.
She argued that idealists and realists must collaborate.
He celebrated idealists at the annual Peace Summit.
She urged idealists to document their successes and failures.
That's how idealist captures the power of hopeful vision.
Idealistic is an adjective.
It describes being unrealistically optimistic or guided by high ideals rather than practical considerations.
His idealistic plan to end hunger overnight proved unworkable.
She held an idealistic view of politics as entirely honest.
The team's idealistic goals inspired but also frustrated stakeholders.
He wrote an idealistic poem about world peace.
Her idealistic approach to education clashed with budget realities.
The novel portrayed an idealistic society free from crime.
His idealistic startup pitched a 24-hour cure for boredom.
She admired his idealistic belief in human goodness.
The group's idealistic demands met fierce opposition.
He criticized the idealistic dream of a zero-waste lifestyle.
Their idealistic vision lacked a step-by-step plan.
She remained idealistic about true love despite heartbreak.
The idealistic educator ignored practical classroom constraints.
He described the idealistic city as a utopia on paper.
His idealistic funding pitch impressed some investors.
She rejected cynicism, staying idealistic about social change.
The film's idealistic hero believed everyone could reform.
He questioned the idealistic notion of free universal housing.
Their idealistic early drafts later became more nuanced.
She remained idealistic but learned to set realistic goals.
The committee's idealistic standards slowed progress.
He valued her idealistic optimism in tough times.
The idealistic proposal required additional funding.
She resented his idealistic insistence on perfect outcomes.
He admired the idealistic bravery of activists.
She felt the idealistic dreamers needed grounding.
The manifesto was criticized as too idealistic.
He saw idealistic youth as the spark of reform.
The plan's idealistic goals needed concrete steps.
She urged balancing idealistic vision with strategy.
The proposal read like an idealistic fairy tale.
He wrote about the pitfalls of idealistic leadership.
The essay praised idealistic art for pushing boundaries.
She remained idealistic despite repeated failures.
His idealistic dreams fueled his lifelong activism.
She tempered her idealistic zeal with data.
The nonprofit adopted idealistic mission statements.
He called out idealistic theories with no evidence.
Her idealistic spirit ignited the whole room.
That's how we use idealistic to describe lofty optimism.
Idol is a noun.
It refers to a person who is greatly admired or looked up to.
Many youths consider pop stars their idol.
She met her childhood idol at the book signing.
He hung posters of his football idol on his wall.
She refused to share her idol's signature photo.
The actor became an idol for aspiring performers.
He wrote a fan letter to his literary idol.
She donated to charity in her idol's name.
He named his band after his rock idol.
Fans queued overnight to see their idol in concert.
She studied the style of her fashion idol.
He trained hard to emulate his martial arts idol.
She felt starstruck meeting her movie idol.
The athlete's idol coached him personally.
He framed the autograph from his tennis idol.
Her artistic idol inspired her career path.
He declared his grandparents his personal idols.
They built a museum honoring national idols.
He wrote a tribute to his political idol.
She studied the techniques of her chef idol.
He thanked his mentor as his greatest idol.
She collected memorabilia of her sports idols.
He named his daughter after his first idol.
The concert featured holograms of legendary idols.
He advised not to lose oneself chasing an idol.
She admitted her teacher was her academic idol.
He interviewed his musical idol on live radio.
Fans' devotion to their idols can be intense.
He discussed how his life changed after meeting his idol.
She studied film to understand her cinematic idol.
He hoped to one day coach alongside his tennis idol.
She wore a t-shirt with her pop idol's face on it.
He dismissed negative rumors about his idol.
She decorated her studio with images of her idols.
He wrote essays on the impact of cultural idols.
She painted a portrait of her childhood idol.
He started a podcast interviewing modern idols.
She credited her success to lessons from her idol.
He collected vinyls by his rock idols.
She trained under the guidance of her martial arts idol.
That's how idol captures admiration and reverence.
Idolize is a verb.
It means to admire or love excessively and uncritically.
She tends to idolize every new celebrity she follows.
He never idolized anyone blindly after being disappointed once.
Fans often idolize pop stars to the point of obsession.
She refused to idolize her boss despite his success.
Children idolize their parents as role models.
He warned against idolizing wealth over character.
Many still idolize historical figures without questioning faults.
She felt foolish for once idolizing that influencer.
We shouldn't idolize any one political leader.
He began to idolize his coach's training regimen.
She used to idolize movie stars as a teenager.
He cautioned his daughter not to idolize screen celebrities.
Some idolize brand names instead of focusing on quality.
She learned not to idolize success at any cost.
Fans idolize athletes for their physical prowess.
He urged friends not to idolize social media personas.
She started to idolize the author after reading 2 books.
He regretted idolizing a friend who betrayed him.
We often idolize icons without knowing their true character.
She realized she was idolizing material possessions.
Critics warn against idolizing untested health hacks.
He refused to idolize any one mentor completely.
Fans idolize bands through fan clubs and meet and greets.
She stopped idolizing the trend when it proved superficial.
Authors often idolize literary greats in dedications.
He advised not to idolize any person over principles.
We sometimes idolize our younger selves in nostalgia.
She caught herself idolizing influencers online.
Politicians may idolize predecessors they never met.
He taught students not to idolize grades over learning.
Fans idolize actors by wearing cosplay outfits.
She stopped idolizing her ex after seeing his flaws.
We shouldn't idolize any single approach to success.
He warned that to idolize can blind us to reality.
She used to idolize that brand. Now she researches alternatives.
He helped her stop idolizing unhelpful stereotypes.
He regretted idolizing quick fixes in business.
We learn more by questioning than idolizing.
She thanked fans for not idolizing her to an unhealthy degree.
That's how idolize warns us against uncritical admiration.
Inspiration is a noun.
It refers to the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially creative or positive action, or a person/source of such stimulation.
She found inspiration in sunrise walks along the beach.
He cited his grandmother as his lifelong inspiration.
Great works of art often come from sudden inspiration.
She uses music as inspiration for her paintings.
Teachers can be inspiration to their students' futures.
He found inspiration in everyday small acts of kindness.
A moving speech provided inspiration for the charity drive.
She looked to nature for inspiration in her designs.
Historical figures often serve as inspiration for reformers.
He wrote down every flash of inspiration in his notebook.
The athlete drew inspiration from crowds cheering him on.
She found inspiration in the resilience of her friends.
A childhood hero can become a source of inspiration for life.
He called her honesty an inspiration to others.
She posted quotes that serve as daily inspiration.
He used travel as inspiration for his next novel.
Art museums often spark inspiration among visitors.
She thanked her mentor for ongoing inspiration.
He found unexpected inspiration in city architecture.
She turned adversity into inspiration for her speeches.
A mentor's success can be a powerful inspiration.
He seeks inspiration in simple household items.
She found inspiration in the smiles of children.
He used daily journaling to capture inspiration.
Historical novels often ignite inspiration for learning.
She found inspiration in community volunteers.
A guardian's unwavering support can provide inspiration.
He used hiking trails for creative inspiration.
She felt inspiration during the symposium keynote.
He sought inspiration from classical poetry.
She turned a quiet retreat into creative inspiration.
He called the ocean his greatest inspiration.
She found inspiration in her patient's courage.
He used family stories as inspiration for his art.
She cited scientific breakthroughs as inspiration for her research.
He captured sunrise photos for daily inspiration.
She posted weekly inspiration on her blog.
He found inspiration in moments of silence.
She curated a playlist of inspiration songs for tough days.
That's how inspiration fuels creativity and hope.
That concludes our deep dive into these 5 essential English expressions.
We hope you feel confident using idealist, idealistic, idle, idolize, and inspiration in your conversations.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more vocabulary insights next time.
Goodbye and keep practicing every day.